Hello and welcome to the Topic Master Series presented by Edu-Kingdom College. In this video, we'll be looking at angles. What are angles? Angles is a shape formed by two rays, in other words line, meeting at a common end point. The angles measures the amount of turn between the two arms and is measured in degrees. There are many different types of angles. The most commonly seen ones are right angles and straight angles. Right angles is angles that are measured exactly 90 degrees, whereas straight angles is angles that measures exactly 180 degrees, forming a straight line. A straight angle is made up of two right angles. We also have acute angles, which is an angle measured less than 90 degrees, and obtuse angles. It is an angle measured between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. In other words, between a straight angle and a right angle. We also have something called a reflex angle. It is an angle that measures more than 180 degrees, but less than 360 degrees. 360 degrees is a full revolution. In other words, it has gone around the whole circle. Now that we have learned what acute, obtuse, and reflex angles are, let's try to identify them. Let's first have a look at 1. 1 is bigger than a straight angle. In other words, it's going to be a reflex angle. Number 2 is in between a straight angle and a right angle, therefore it is a obtuse angle. Number 3 is smaller than a right angle, therefore it's a acute angle. Number 4 is greater than a straight angle, but less than a full revolution, so it's going to be a reflex angle as well. Number 5 is less than a right angle, so it's going to be an acute angle. And lastly, for 6 is less than a straight angle, but more than a right angle, therefore it's an obtuse angle. How many angles can you see on this bike? There are a few obtuse angles and some acute angles. There's also a right angle right there, and quite a few straight angles. Angles are actually all around us, and can be as simple as the pizza on the dinner table, the track that the trains are running, or just at home. There's a few types of special angles. For example, we have complementary angles. It's a pair of angles that, when added, are equal to 90 degrees, a right angle. Whereas we have supplementary angles. It's a pair of angles that added up to and equal to 180 degrees, which is a straight angle. Let's match these complementary angles. 36 and 54 adds up to give us 90, so they're going to be one pair. Then we have 69 with 21, 18 with 72, and 45 with 45. In geometry sets, we usually see this thing here, which is called a protractor. It is an instrument for measuring angles. Angles are measured in degrees. In other words, each number, each little dash represents 1 degree. How can we measure angles using a protractor? All we have to do is line up one of the lines with the straight line on either side of the protractor, rather at 0 or 180. If we start from the right, from 180, what we need to do is find 180 minus the degree that the other ray of the angle is touching. In other words, for this angle, we have 180 degree, and the other ray is reaching as 146 degrees. Therefore, the size of this angle is going to be 180 degrees minus 146 degrees, which gives us 34 degrees. But when we measure from the left instead, starting from 0, putting the protractor straight at the line 0, since we're already starting the degree at 0, the degree is just going to be whatever degree the other ray reaches. In this case, we can see that it's going to be 34. In other words, it's 34 degrees, and these two angles are actually the same size. How do we measure the angles that are not laying flat? We can just twist them around to make one side flat, rather twist it to the right or twist it to the left. If we lay it flat to the right, all we have to do is just do 180 minus whatever the second ray is touching, in this case which is 50, which gives us that the angle is 130 degrees. Or if we lay it to the left, it's just going to give us 130 degrees. How about this one? How do we calculate reflex angles, since the protractor doesn't go over 180? You've realized that a reflex angle can actually be split from a straight angle and another angle. what we have to do is just to draw a straight line from one of the lines and make a straight angle, and use the protractor to calculate whatever is left. In this case, I have it laying to the right, and I have 180 and 113. I can just minus 180 by 113, which gives us an angle of 67. This is only the acute angle portion. We have to always remember to add the straight angle back in. Since we know that our straight angle is 180 degrees, we have to do 180 plus 67, which gives us 247 degrees. To do reflex angles, there are 3 important steps. Find the straight angle, use the protractor to find the remaining angle, and add them together. Have a go at trying to measure these two by yourself using a protractor. If you put a protractor straight at the line, we should get roughly 140. Since it's laying to the right, we have to do 180 minus 140, which gives us 40 degrees. Moving on to the right, we can draw a straight flat line and make a straight angle 180 degrees. Using a protractor, we can start from 180 and then we can see it actually reached 35. So I can do 180 minus 35 to find how big the obtuse angle, which is going to be 145. And I add the straight angle with the obtuse angle of the remaining angles, which gives us 325 degrees. And this is it for this video. Check out more English and Maths content by exploring our channel.